As tensions continue to build overseas, could President Biden use the crisis in Ukraine to boost his cratering poll numbers? Let's bring in Fox News contributor and Washington Times opinion editor Charlie Hurt. Seems a little crass, but that word is out there that President Biden might be playing up the chances of a Ukraine invasion as a sort of a shiny object to distract the attention of the world on what's going on in his administration. What do you think, Charlie?
Well, you know, John, it's kind of hard not to sort of wonder about this when you look at, in the first place, the array of problems that Joe Biden is facing domestically, which he apparently has, his administration apparently has very little or no ability to fix. So it's sort of, it makes you kind of wonder if he isn't sort of looking abroad for a problem maybe over there that he might be able to fix. Even if it isn't something that American people are clamoring for him to do something about. But then when you start hearing, you know, Ukraine is supposed to be this huge ally of the Biden administration, and you listen to, as Lucas Tomlinson just reported, you listen to the discord between what the Ukrainian government is saying and what the Biden administration is saying about the seriousness or the likelihood, the imminent likelihood of an invasion. It's really sort of jarring, and it starts to make you wonder. You know, at one point last week, you had the Ukrainian officials saying, "Hold on, this is, you know, you guys are getting way ahead of your skis there," and almost like they were sort of worried that Joe Biden's rhetoric was going to get them into a war that they didn't think they were going to get into otherwise.
Right. Ukrainian President Zelensky has all but begged the Biden administration to stop beating the drum about this imminent invasion. You, Charlie, were on Fox Business recently with Christian Whiten, former State Department official in the Bush 43 and Trump administrations. He put out an online piece today that I thought was interesting. Here's what he wrote. He says, even if Russia eventually makes a move, Biden and his helpers have already squandered more of the precious little credibility the USA possessed after the debacle in Afghanistan. Even the Ukrainian government has publicly disagreed with the White House hype. However, looking through its activist progressive political lens, the White House doesn't care about this cost to our credibility. They've accentuated the crisis because they want Biden to get the credit for preventing a big European war if it doesn't happen. It's looking increasingly likely that Biden hyped the chance of war to change the topic in Washington. He and his vice president have lied to Congress, the media, our allies, and the public. What do you think about that, Charlie?
Well, no one has ever gone out of business in Washington by not being cynical enough. And I think that this is probably one of those cases where, you know, obviously, you know, Putin has a lot of soldiers at the Ukrainian border, and you don't take anything like that lightly. But my goodness, you know, I think he's exactly right. You know, let's say the Ukrainian government is right, and the Biden administration is overplaying this and is overhyping this, and in fact there is an invasion. You better believe this has been a bit of a respite for the Biden administration in terms of being able to talk about something other than the inflation, crime, and all of the things that are weighing them down here domestically. And you know, the other thing that I think is very important also to remember is that Christian is exactly right. We have lost so much credibility with the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan. And let's just give it to people that they want to sort of this left-wing idea today in the Biden administration that we want to be the policeman of the world. Well, if we want to be the policeman of the world, the most important thing is for us to be very powerful domestically. And so as long as all of that is being undercut, we're in no position to be the policeman of the world. So why don't we sort of get back to the basics and take care of those things so that at least we can make a sober choice about whether we want to be the policeman of the world.
As if to prove Christian Whiten's point, I think I just have time to read the headline from this Washington Post piece today. But the headline is, with or without war, Ukraine gives Biden a new lease on leadership. Charlie Hurt, real quick thought on that.
One of the rare true things written in the Washington Post lately.
Charlie Hurt, always good to talk to you. Fox News contributor, Washington Times opinion editor. Thank you, Charlie.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.